Yeah. The reveal. Whew. I was going to wear my wrestling mask had I known you were rocking that thing. Look at you.
Here we go, buddy.
How
Here
you
we
feeling?
go. This feels a little different. I'm feeling okay. You know, it was a long night. I didn't finish my scripts until about 2:45 in the morning. Obviously, with the Jacare Souza news, a lot of things had to be moved around. So it's been a trying week. You know, I think it's been emotional. And I think maybe even though I'm not the worrying type, I think there's probably some anxiety that I've been ignoring. But I passed my COVID-19 test, and I'm ready to get to this empty arena here in a few minutes, my man. How are you doing?
I'm good. You know what? I was stressed for you, obviously. And with everything going on, you know, once they broke Jacare yesterday, my question was going to be, you know, all right, who's next? You know? And then when they broke the news of the corner guys, I'm still concerned that somebody's got it out there, you know, but the show must go on and we're going to deal with the shit after, I guess. But for now, we got a great fight card. You know, even without Jacare and Uriah Hall, this is still a stellar card, you know? I mean, it's great. And that was one of the harder fights to even pick, so this is awesome.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I think that most of the athletes are just chomping at the bit to get in there, and obviously they all, except for Jacare Souza, passed their test, and at least for now have been given a clean bill of health. So here we go, man. You know, it's definitely unlike any show day that I've ever experienced in television, whether I'm working a desk or doing a live event. Certainly when you're sitting in your hotel room about to go call a Conor McGregor fight, there's some anxiousness or some butterflies or things like that. But I think tonight, I don't necessarily know what I'm walking into. I can sit here and tell you now, 3 hours before the first fight, that I won't be sitting at Joe Rogan's table. I'll have my own table. My stage manager is going to be sitting 3 or 4 feet behind me and getting me the cards. I don't know how the on-cameras are going to work necessarily in terms of the three of us, but we're just excited to have the focus back on fighting. And sort of as I've been saying, doing interviews in our podcast this week, there's so much to talk about with these athletes and what they've been going through just to get here. So we're excited. I mean, Dominic's fighting for the goddamn title tonight. I mean, if that doesn't make it feel like a movie, I don't know what will. And Ferguson and Gaethje, you know, I thought a lot about how to sort of open the pay-per-view, and I think I have to say something to the effect of, you know, these guys, more importantly than anything else, are willing to go to those dark places, maybe more than any fighters collectively on the roster, to try to get that 12 pounds of gold tonight. So got to think dark places somehow, some way is going to find its way into the show open tonight, kid.
Yeah, and you know what? Dom looked intense yesterday at the weigh-ins, you know, more than I've seen in the past, super focused. You know, I still think this is a tremendous challenge for him. You know, this is a big undertaking for him, and I think it's a huge amount of pressure on Henry Cejudo as well. You know, we see the gimmick, we see the, you know, the cringe master, whatever the fuck he calls himself, and I like that better, the cringe master. I might have to trademark that. But, you know, we all know that when Henry gets in the cage, he's one of the top athletes, you know, in the world. My brother just wrote, "Take me to the dark side." I knew he was going to chime in. Yeah. You know, so it's just a matter right now. I mean, if Dom really pulls this off, is this the greatest comeback, not just in MMA? I know you mentioned in sports in general, and it's got to be considered up there. I mean, the guy's out for, 3 years, you know, off the loss, the injuries, and then comes back and beats a guy like who's essentially the double champ. You know, my mind, Henry's still the champ, you know?
Yeah.
So it's kind of
wild.
By the
way, our guy Cody just asked if he's Triple C or the Messenger. So maybe a little bit of breaking news here for our Anik and Florian podcast audience. Let's not push this out on Twitter, but he's going with Triple C tonight.
Is he going with Triple C?
Yeah,
no more
so
the
it's going to be Triple C tonight. That is a salient question there out of Cody Merrow. But no, you bring up a lot of good points, obviously, on Dominic. I was a little surprised to hear UFC President Dana White suggest that maybe this would be the biggest upset in UFC history were Dominic to win, because I don't see it in that stratosphere or even close. I understand what Dominic is up against, but I just don't know that this layoff for him is going to be the reason he loses tonight. If he loses tonight, I think it's going to be because Henry Cejudo is primed and primal and ready to stamp himself not just as the bantamweight champion, but as one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in mixed martial arts today. You know, Henry is still on an upward trajectory and, in theory, on the incline of his career, maybe not even having yet arrived at his fighting prime. So, Henry had the big shoulder surgery. Yes, he's been out since last June. But did you see Cejudo physically? I mean, he looks like an absolute fucking monster.
Yeah, I got to address. Someone said the duck looks high as fuck. I swear to God, it's unbelievable. I look myself in the camera, and I understand. I really do look high. No, I'm good. Yeah, look, Henry, you're right. Maybe we should just start and get this shit over with. But Henry looked phenomenal. He looked like he was in great shape. And this is something I said on the podcast. Maybe Henry hasn't even hit his peak yet. You
Right.
know, I mentioned that. I mean, look at the guys he's beat. You know, obviously Demetrius Johnson, that could have went either way. He flattened TJ Dillashaw. You know, he went out and came back against Moraes and then finished him, which is not someone that happens very much. You're talking about a guy that every time he steps in and takes on a challenge looks better and better and better. And then you look at a guy like Dom, who probably is one of the smartest, more intelligent fighters with always the best game plan, like ever in the history of the sport. To say it would be the biggest upset, I would question that big time. Not that I try to, piss off the boss, but, comeback-wise, yes. Upset, no. There's been way – I mean, Matt Serra beating GSP, in my opinion, is probably the biggest upset of all time.
Right.
So,
that was the one he compared it to. He said maybe even bigger than that. But
sure.
In terms of Dominic Cruz and this comeback story, and I think it's hard to cross sport lines when you're trying to draw a parallel.
Sure.
You know, we've got some stuff that we're going to run on the air tonight that tries to put it into a proper context. But when Michael Jordan came back to the NBA, he was still a primed athlete. And, I don't want to take away from producing another three-peat on the back end of a 2-year hiatus due to Major League Baseball. But I think if Dominic Cruz wins the title tonight, given the 5 surgeries he's been through and everything else, I think it's a greater comeback story than Michael Jordan. Tiger Woods winning a 5th green jacket is the first thing that comes to mind to me, because, if there was a betting line as to whether or not Tiger would win another major, how many, I didn't think he was going to break through and win another major. So the fact that he was able to do that and to do it at Augusta, that's the one that sort of jumps off the page for me right now. But I do believe, biased as I may be, if Dominic Cruz is the UFC bantamweight champion at the end of tonight as a 3-time champion with all of the adversity that he's dealt with, it'll be the greatest comeback story, at least in terms of professional sports domestically in the U.S. in the last quarter century.
Hard to argue it, and I think sometimes there's people on here who may feel different for the opinion. I think sometimes people also don't realize where Henry's currently at in the career. People are forgetting a guy who's hasn't been around all that long, 2-division champ, and he's, obviously a gold medalist in the Olympics. There's just a lot with Henry that people seem to kind of forget because of the gimmick. And this is not disrespecting WWE. I'm a huge pro wrestling fan, but I think Henry found that gimmick and realized this is going to help sell. And he's kind of taken it and run with it. But like you said, when you really get down to the meat and potatoes of Henry Cejudo, the athlete, whole different ballgame.
Yeah. So we're getting a couple questions about Fabricio Verdum ending a 2-year layoff against Alexei Oleinik. Do you have anything for us on Verdum and your concerns with any rust as far as his fight with Oleinik?
You know what? In the heavyweight division against a guy like Oleinik, who I think has trouble walking more than 4 steps, I think someone, Fabricio Verdum, who's been a veteran, who's really not been injured all that much, who's fought everybody, has gotten better as the year's gone on. I mean, a guy that came into the sport as just a jiu-jitsu practitioner, now with the good stand-up. Oleinik finishes people by that Ezekiel choke. And I don't think if Fabricio Verdum loses by that, then I'm going to say this might be the first time I've seen someone throw a fight in the UFC because there's no way that happens. Like, there's just no fucking way that happens. So
well, and Verdum's never been submitted as a mixed martial artist as far as I know.
On top of that, so I think if any guy to come back to fight in that division, this is like a silver platter to Fabricio. Yeah. Like, hey, we want you to re-sign after your next fight. Come back. Look who we're giving you on this big card. And that's what I think with Fabricio Verdum. I think he wins this one pretty handedly. People that pick Oleinik, I saw a couple people out here saying boa constrictor. Listen, I would not make that bet. I would take Verdum. I don't care what the odds are.
So someone was asking about Jeremy Stephens after missing weight by 4.5 pounds. Obviously, that has not been his normal as a featherweight. He's had a lot of featherweight appearances now. I don't believe he's missed weight since like 2015. So it has been
Dennis Bermudez fight.
So it's been a while, and I think you got to cut him a little slack this time around, given some of the limitations that he was dealing with. But certainly we were all surprised to see a guy who many of us fancy a consummate professional type miss by that much. Does that affect your analysis or opinion on his fight with the Methuen guy, Calvin Kattar?
Truth be told, I like Kattar regardless of the situation. And a lot of the time, since I have experience with fighting, with managing guys, sometimes the weigh-ins don't really tell the full story. When Aspen Ladd was shaking on the scale, that looked pretty bad. But you saw when she fought, getting clipped didn't really show that. I will say Jeremy Stephens did look like shit. You know, he did look like a zombie on there and missing the weight. It's not going to help him. And obviously, to your point, he has not missed in a really long time. So something obviously didn't work for him. This is a really hard time in the world to go through something like that. So I still like Calvin Kattar. Even if he would have made weight, to me, this just kind of, you know, Kattar's now like, all right, I'm getting 30% more, and I'm going to go knock out Jeremy Stephens. That's what I think Calvin's thinking.
Somebody's asking if No Nonsense Keith Peterson is going to be in the building tonight. I can confirm that No Nonsense is here. I actually saw him earlier today whacking a lung dart outside, so he's ready to go. Those dirt sticks smelled really good, actually, as I was going out to go for a run today. Somebody also said, you know, Jeremy Stephens and Dominic Cruz are teammates, and Dominic Cruz made weight. And I understand that Dom made championship weight. I try to not compare athletes who don't have young children to others. I hate to say it. I'm really not trying to make excuses for Jeremy Stephens. In some part, I'm trying to be funny. But it's like, Jeremy Stephens is being a parent during a lot of this quarantine, right? Dominic Cruz is a dog dad, right? Dominic Cruz has been training nonstop, essentially, for 7 weeks. So physically, I expect Dominic to be in a good place. Physically, for Jeremy Stephens, there could be an advantage gained. I mean, 4.5 pounds is a big deal in that weight class, you know. But if you know Calvin Kattar, you know he was not going to have any reluctance in still accepting the fight. So that's a tremendous fight. What are your thoughts day of now on Francis Ngannou and Jairzinho Rozenstruik? Because I can say to a man, to a woman on this fight card, these athletes seem so ready to go. Like Ferguson, Gaethje, they couldn't be more ready to go. So I have no idea who's going to win that fight. I certainly think the value's on the Gaethje side if you're getting plus 150. I mean, I think it's closer to a pick'em than Tony minus 190 or so. But Ngannou and Rozenstruik, Jairzinho seems to be in a great place. And I have to admit, being here during fight week, I feel a little bit better about his chances than maybe I did, on Monday when we did the show.
I think a lot of guys like to, just say like, I'm not scared of certain people. Like Darren Till saying he's afraid of Yoel Romero is very honest. I think most guys are truly afraid of Francis. I think Jairzinho Rozenstruik is literally not. And I think he is someone who has fought kickboxing all over the world against guys of Francis's size. Yeah. I just think this is still Francis Ngannou's time. You know, I think this is a fight where he finally doesn't have to worry about wrestling at all. He can just let his hands go. And, Overeem has been dropped a lot. That chin has definitely taken a lot of punches from some heavyweights. I don't know if anyone's ever touched Francis on the chin to really drop him. With Stipe, he was grinded out. With DC, he was grinded out. Right. So, these are two guys, like you said, heavyweight that are ready for this. This is going to be a slugfest. I hope we don't get a Derek Lewis, Francis Ngannou too. I don't see Rozenstruik being that way. I think if Rozenstruik does win, it's off that back foot left hook that Kenny mentioned on the pod, because that seems to be something that he just about that. He can throw really well, but I still like Francis here, man. I just think he's fought better competition, and he's been consistent throughout his career. Jairzinho's only had, 4 fights in the UFC total, and it's in the first year, so that could play a toll.
Yeah, I think a lot of his confidence is rooted in the 85 kickboxing matches. And to your point earlier, he's been in there with a lot of big boys that are intimidating. And as such, he's not intimidated by this setting. All right, so I'm about to go get on a van and drive the 1 mile to the VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena.
Wow.
The UFC is back, baby. You got anything else for me, Duck, Ian Parker, before I go? Anything else? Any questions at all about what's going on here on the ground before I go? I got about 2 minutes.
Give me a little something on El Kukui. How was he when talking to him? Because, for a guy that always is honest, strange, and gives you that really out of left field response, give me something on Tony for this week, what you've had with him.
So he calls me the Silver Fox because I think he found it hilarious when a few years ago I grew my hair out on television. People think I'm losing my hair. I wish I was losing my fucking hair. Then I wouldn't have to shave it every 4 days. So it always makes me laugh when he calls me the Silver Fox. But no, I mean, I guess he doesn't seem overly concerned with legacy and undisputed greatness. I just think that he is comfortable in his own skin with the body work that he's put on paper, with the opportunity that's in front of him tonight to get one of the new championship belts, to go with the old one at home. It's amazing to think that a guy could win 2 interim championships in the deepest UFC division and never lose either one of them, and yet still, for one reason or another, not get a crack at the undisputed title. It really defies logic. So I'm excited for Tony. I hate that there has to be a loser in that fight. I would love for them both to be able to break through. For Justin, certainly not that it would be this huge validation of his WSOF career, because I think most of us think he's an elite lightweight who on any given Saturday night can be the number one guy in the world. But certainly bringing a UFC interim championship belt home to his parents and to his family, and having that win over, I think it's more about the win over Tony Ferguson for Gaethje. You know, if he's the guy to end this El Cucuy winning streak, I don't care what belt it is. You know, that is a true signature win. So I can't fucking wait, bro. I mean, for this fight, with respect to Khabib Nurmagomedov, maybe the greatest pound-for-pound fighter in the world today, this matchup is bulletproof, right? I mean, like, what are your expectations early on from Gaethje and Tony?
Listen,
I think one of them might try to feel it out. Do you think? I mean, Gaethje has gotten a little bit more selective in the pocket recently. Like, it's just going to be bananas from the opening bell.
You know what? It's funny. What I complimented Justin on in his fight against Cowboy, I think that's what's going to be his downfall here, believe it or not. I think he has to go at Tony with the leg kicks right away and push forward and try and land that right hand. Because if this gets out of the second round, we know his cardio is going to dip. He's even said it. He said, if I don't knock out Tony, Tony's going to beat me. You know, he knows. And I think for Tony has to be really respectful of that power and really, like, I'm not going to tell Tony how to fight. He's gotten this far without my advice, obviously, right? But I just think for Justin, the leg kicks are extremely, you know, they punish people. They kill. They knock people's soul out of their fucking legs, you know? And I think that right hand is devastating. And Tony gets clipped a lot. You know, can Tony make that comeback if he gets hit by Justin? I don't know, you know, but I think for Tony, he's got to utilize that wrestling game. I think he's got to surprise Justin. I think he's got to pressure Justin a lot too, because Justin doesn't get those knockouts off the back foot. He always gets it leaning in with a wide right. So I'm excited for this fight. I love both guys. I hope for Tony's sake, what he's been through, he wins. I know you got to run, so I don't want to keep you, but
yeah, I got to run.
Do your thing.
I love your analysis. I just want to say, I will not be wearing my N95 mask on television. I sincerely appreciate all of our Anik and Florian podcast listeners and viewers for coming in here today. We'll repurpose this on YouTube if you want to watch it later before the fights. But thank everybody for their support on the broadcast tonight. And God willing, we'll talk to you on the other side, Duck. Thanks for chiming in, kid.
Love you, bro. Stay safe tonight, man.
Love you too, man. Thanks, everybody. See you soon.
You got it.
Let's fucking go.
I know. That mask looks like a duck mask, bro. All right, I'm going to stay on for a couple more minutes. I know there was a lot of – someone said I was a good-looking guy. I appreciate that. Yeah, Anik's on the front line, wild. So I got 2 minutes. I'm going to try and answer as much questions as possible here. I'll try and go back here. Ooh, I apologize. All the Duck fans out there, you guys are awesome. I fucking love you guys. All right, so let's try and rifle off some questions as quick as possible because I literally have like 2 minutes. I know I promised some of you guys I can get you on the live here, but that might not work today. I'm sorry. Don't fuck up this video. Cody, does that mean I should sign off, bro? You tell me. You're the chief marketing officer. Let's see. Oh, man, I know a lot of guys are trying to get on this right now. Ian, you got a third leg or what? What the fuck is that? That's funny, man. Any parlays for you tonight? Yeah, I like Ryan Spann, Cater, and Ware Doom. You want to throw Francis in there? I like that. I also like Bryce Mitchell straight up. I do like Tony Ferguson straight up. Let's see. Roser and Mitchell. Sorry I got in late. You're good. I like Bryce Mitchell in that fight. The odds are a little higher than I expected. I did a lot of parlays tonight, man. I did a lot of crazy shit. I got to be honest. But the one that I really love the most is probably – what's up, Australia? I really love Spann, Ware Doom, and Cater. That's another one I really like if I said that already. Let's see. Cruz and Henry go the distance. Definitely possible. Thoughts on Karate Hottie and Carla? I actually picked Karate Hottie. I know, Cody, these comments are amazing, right? I chose Karate Hottie over Carla. I think if she could keep this fight standing, which I think she can, you know, I think she could win this fight. I think she's got the better striking. She's also very active off her back. So, fight of the night, Tony and Justin or Calvin and Stevens. You know, get another art piece this week for the show. Appreciate that, bro. That's awesome. You're the man. Let's see. Jeremy missing weight sucks during a pandemic, man. You know, it's I'll give him that, bro. Pettis Cowboy. I like Cerrone in this fight, especially as an underdog. You know, I don't see Cowboy losing 4 fights in a row. Anthony Pettis is not the same fighter he was when he beat Cowboy the first time. I appreciate that. I'm trying to smash right through this and give you guys as much as I can. I only got about another minute left. Let's see. Luque eats a lot of shots, head down. Fancy Nico at 2-1. I honestly don't like Nico in this fight. I know it might sound crazy. Luque has just fought really stupid. As you saw, you know, Wonder Boy lit him up with everything and didn't knock him out. Nico, I think, carries more power, However, I think Luque knows how badly he has to win this fight, which means he'll probably take the fight to the ground. Maybe. If it's a jiu-jitsu fight, Luque wins. If it's a stand-up fight, Luque just cannot get in a brawl. All right? Thanks, Dave. Appreciate that. De La Rosa, no, I like Bryce Mitchell. Khabib or Ferguson, who wins? I'm not touching that fight with a 10-foot pole until it actually happens. Let's see. I don't think Price can take Luque power. Maybe. We'll see, man. It's kind of crazy. Duck is better than the GOAT. Love you for that. I love this Duck thing. It really took off. This is awesome. What round will the main event end between Tony and... I have Tony winning in the 4th round. I think if he gets past the first 2 rounds with Gaethje's power, I think he can. His cardio could take over, and Justin's output will start to definitely lessen. I hope I'm right. Sounded like I knew what I was talking about, right? Rosa champion? He hasn't shown me that he's going to be a champ, man, so I don't know. Connor or Masvidal. As much as I want to make that pick, we got to wait for that fight to be signed for me to actually give you that. Stack tonight, what's up with the next 2, though? We're going to talk about the next 2 on Monday. I haven't even gone through everything yet. I've been so focused on this card. Tony versus Justin, I'm taking Tony tonight. Khabib is the champion, technically, that is true. Over under 5 total KOs for the card. Oh, that's so tough. I think 5 is a good number. Let's see, Ngannou, Rozenstruik under 1.5 rounds. I would say that's could happen. You never know, but I think it's under 1.5 too. Be the best in answering these questions. I'm trying to go so fast. I feel bad if I scroll backwards, you know. Do you think we get any weird performances? Oh, God, it's MMA. Of course, we'll probably get something really strange. Watch Olmec and Werdum, like, go 3 rounds to a draw. What does Waterson have to do to win? She's got to keep the fight standing and not get put on her back and grind it out for 3 rounds. Although she does have an active jiu-jitsu game, I think if she stands up, I think her karate style stand-up will definitely outlast. Carla's stand-up is very predictable, you know, and it's just a setup for wrestling. So who do you think will win at bantamweight? Hold on, let's see. Can Waterson win? I already said that Ian, you're the man, dude. Way better looking than Kenny. I don't know if that's saying much, but thank you, bro. I appreciate that. I have better hair than him, too. I'm just rocking the hat because this quarantine hair is getting fucking out of control. All right, let's see. Cruz Cejudo came in late. I like Henry Cejudo tonight as much as I would. Dominic winning would be an amazing story. I just think Cejudo hasn't even touched his prime yet.